Okay, continuing the two kinyanim that we discussed yesterday, Be'ema Yirah, I want to add on a tremendously beautiful idea. Rav Chaim Volozhiner, in his explanation of the Mishnah, says as follows: Be'ema Yirah, ki eich lo ya'achazenu chil ura'ada. How could it be possible that a person won't be completely taken with trepidation, with fear, b'haloisa alibo she'afilo hakohen gadol lo haylo reshus likones lefnim lebeis kodesh hakadoshim rak b'yom kippurim? That even the kohen gadol, if a person realizes that even the kohen gadol, the holiest, most highest servant of the Bnei Olam, can only enter the Kodesh Kodashim on Yom Kippur, because in the Kodesh Kodashim, that's where the main Ashras Shechina was in the world. Im Kain, says Rav Chaim Volozhiner, Ata now, if someone's involved in learning Torah and the Dalarams that's where there's Hashras Shechina. Bivadai Yilmoy Biyirah. If a person's able to realize, if a person's able to think about the fact that what you are doing in the process of learning Torah, when a person sits down to learn Torah, it's equivalent. It's equivalent to the Kohen Gadol entering the Kodesh HaKadoshim. It's just as holy an act. It's just as holy a place as the Kodesh HaKadoshim. So of course you're going to be awestruck. Of course there's going to be an automatic sense of trepidation. Of course, Rav Chaim Volozhiner is coming from the famous Gemara in Haryos. The Gemara tells us, "Yikara mipninim." The pasuk says in Mishlei that Torah is Yikara; it's more precious than mipninim. The Gemara darshans, what does that mean? Yikara mikoyin gadol shenichnas lifnei v'lifnim. That learning Torah is more precious. It's more special. It's more valuable than entering the Kodesh HaKadoshim. Eye-opening, incredible insight. And that's the pshat, says Rav Matisyahu Solomon, why learning Torah has an equivalency to Oimei Maimed Har Sinai, to somebody who's a mamish standing at Har Sinai. Because when you sit down to learn Torah, it's not just another subject. It's not just getting information, understanding ideas, developing svaras, producing and making our brains function better. That's not what it's all about. It's not only about analysis and it's not only about understanding. Learning Torah is about entering the Kodesh HaKadoshim. It's about standing in mamish mokum of Hashras Shechina. That's eye-opening ideas. Rabbeinu Yonah, earlier in Maseches Avos, the Mishnah tells us, Rabbi Yaakov Omer, mafsik mishnasai, somebody who's walking. He's walking in the fields, and he's learning, obviously, because that's what a Ben Torah does. And he's mafsik mishnasai, stops from his learning, and he says, Manoah ilon zeh, Manoah near zeh. How beautiful is this tree? How beautiful is this field? So Torah looks at him as if he's chayiv misa. Chayiv misa? He's appreciating the chochmas habeirei. He's appreciating ma'aseh bereishis. Why should he be mischayiv b'nafsho? Why is that so bad? Explains Rabbeinu Yonah, Because as long as a person is involved in learning, he should not be mesiach sichas chulin. He shouldn't talk non-Torah concepts. Why? Because a person has to stand in front of Torah with trepidation, with awe. Says Rabbi Yonah, after a person's using the Kisara Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, if you're using Torah, if you're learning Torah, that means you're holding on to, you're grabbing hold of the Keser of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So of course you have to have Ima, of course you have to have Yirah. How could it be that a person who's holding on to the crown of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to all of a sudden think about Sichas Chulin? How is it Shaykh? How can it be Oila Ladas? How can a person have a Havamina to begin to discuss the beauty of the trees? Rav Matisyahu's Masved of Rabbeinu Yonah takes it one step further and explains it so beautifully. Aim of Yirah doesn't mean fear. It doesn't mean I'm scared that a Kodesh Baruch Hu is going to whip me, he's going to punish me. I'm not scared of the patch. That's not what it's all about. It's an appreciation of the awesomeness of Torah that was given to us in Sinai. In other words, when a person is approaching the Rosh Hashiva, and they have a tremendous sense of respect, they have a tremendous sense of appreciation, they have a tremendous sense of greatness in the presence of the Rosh Hashiva. And they're about to approach the Rosh Hashiva for the first time. But not only are they going to approach the Rosh Hashiva, the Rosh Hashiva called them over, said, "Can you please come to my office?" A person automatically is awestruck. A person is automatically very nervous, very timid, because of the greatness that they're about to enter, the presence of greatness they're about to encounter. Let's make it even one step further. Imagine, Emir Tashem, one day Bekari, Reb Chaim Kanievsky's Gabbai calls you on the phone, and he says, "Dear Yingler, Reb Chaim would like to speak to you. Can you please come to Reb Chaim's house to enter his study tomorrow at 12 noon? Automatically, you're struck with a sense of awesomeness. Automatically, you're incredibly nervous, anxious. You're timid. There's fear bubbling up in your heart. You can't sleep at night. You can't sit still. What does he want from me? What am I going for? This is going to be amazing. This is great. This is amazing. This is awesome. But at the same time that you're so incredibly nervous, at that same instant, that appreciation for nervousness also leads to a tremendous amount of happiness. A simcha that is bubbling over. Reb Chaim called me. Reb Chaim wants to speak to me. The Gemara tells us, the Gemara in Brachos, a famous Gemara in Brachos in the 5th parak of Brachos, the Gemara tells us that a person has to daven mitoich ra'ada, out of fear. The Gemara quotes a pasuk, Ivdu es Hashem b'yirah, a person should serve Hashem out of fear, v'gilu, and be happy b'ra'ada, and be happy in his trembling. And the Talmidei Rabbeinu Yonah in the back of the Gemara in Brachos asked the obvious question: how is it possible simultaneously to be trembling while also being gilu, having happy? They seem to be diametrically opposed, polar opposites. If you're shivering and shaking and nervous and you're fearful, how can you be happy? They seem to not coincide with each other. Explains Rabbeinu Yonah, that's true if you're scared of a patch. That's true if there's Yirah ha'oinish. But if it's Yirah ha'roimimus, if you're not scared that you're going to get a patch, but you're awestruck, you're scared, you're timid, and you have a trepidation because you recognize how wonderful, amazing, and great HaKadosh Baruch Hu is. So that sense of awesomeness not only leads to ra'ada, not only leads to trembling, but simultaneously leads to a gilu, leads to a happiness. Rabbi Aaron Kotler in Mishnah Rav Aaron said, imagine that you had an opportunity to enter Rabbi Yisrael Salanter. You're going to have a chance to meet Rabbi Yisrael Salanter. How scared would I be? How fearful would I be entering that room? Yet simultaneously, how happy, how great would the simcha be? Says, do you think that Reb Chaim Volozhiner, when he entered the room to speak to the Vilna Goyim, Reb Chaim Volozhiner was a prime disciple, a Talmud Muvak of the Goyim. He spent hours by the Gra. Do you think when he went to enter the room to speak to the Goyim, he was exclusively scared? I guarantee you, says Rabbi Aaron, that he was scared. But he was also overwhelmed with the simcha that he had an opportunity to encounter the Vilna Goyim. He had an opportunity to speak to the Gra. That's the Yirah that we're discussing here. That's the Yirah that a person has to have when he approaches Limud Torah. It's a Yirah ha'roimimus. It's an appreciation of how wonderful Torah is, how amazing Torah is. What great sense, what great opportunity we have now to sit and learn Torah. That it's Yikara him mitninim, it's greater than entering the Kodesh HaKadosh. I'm going to end with a Maisa from the Chavetz Chaim. How is it that Yirah works? In other words, how is it that Yirah is a kinyan for Torah? It's important, I understand. It's fundamental, it's necessary. But why does it help me acquire Torah? Why does it help me learn Torah? And the Chavetz Chaim has the following beautiful Maisa. It says, once upon a time I was traveling on a train. And sitting opposite me on the train was a guy who was a drunkard, an old man, about 80 years old. And because the journey was so long and he was so drunk, he was bored out of his mind. And the guy started talking to me. Just in order to get rid of the boredom, to deal with the passage of time. And he said, I want to tell you a story. The guy says to the Chavetz Chaim, when I was 8 years old, the Tsar of Russia came to my town. And the guy starts describing in intricate detail the procession, the Kabbalas Panim of the Tsar, how they decorated the streets, what each horse looked like, how many instruments were used to greet the Tsar, what the Seder Hayom was, in every single detail of this encounter that happened when he was 8 years old. When the Chavetz Chaim got back to Radin, he got back home and he went to yeshiva and he told his Talmidim what happened to him yesterday on the train. He said to his Talmidim, he says, how can it be that this old man who was a tippish and he was a drunkard, and if you would ask him what happened yesterday, he would barely be able to answer you. How is it shaykh that he was able to remember in intricate detail every single thing that happened to an incident 72 years earlier. How is it possible that a man could, on the one hand, have such a horrible memory, but on the other hand, be able to remember everything so refined and precisely? And said the Chafetz Chaim, if something's important to you, it makes a reishim that will never be erased. If something is meaningful to you, it will last a lifetime. The Chafetz Chaim says, halavai v'halavai. Our approach to Torah should be that of something that's important to us. If we understand the Yirah HaRoimim, how wonderful, how amazing Torah is, then avada and avada, says the Chafetz Chaim, we won't forget it. We won't forget it. And that's what the Gemara means. Kol sheyiras chet oy, koidemes lechachmasai, chachmasai miskayemes. If a person's Yirah Shamayim precedes his chachma, he understands the greatness of Torah before he learns, then the Torah will remain. It will last, because the Torah will make a reishim. Ad kan.